Hello everyone and welcome to the Roundup heading into week 12 where we go through the best fantasy analysis and the notes you need to know from fantasylife.com to help you dominate your fantasy leagues. It is Thanksgiving week. We're going to go through some of our favorite plays and some utilization you need to know, so let's get into it. Every single year, it feels like we talk about how there are so many injuries with fantasy football, but this year feels a little bit different, especially because last week we got the news that Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson would be out for the remainder of the year. So let's go through some quarterbacks that could help us along the way. There are three quarterbacks that I want to break down for you today just in case the injury bug did get to your fantasy football teams because I do not want you guys to give up. So let's start right now. I'm on the Board Pro 75 on the waiver wire tool, fantasylife.com, which is a great tool so you can go and see what waiver wire ads you should prioritize. The first one is Derek Carr over here. I want to tell you that he could be someone that could help your fantasy leagues. I know it's a little bit gross. The Saints are going up against the Atlanta Falcons in week 12. Something that we do need to watch for. If you are going to go and get Derek Carr, he was in concussion protocol as of Tuesday. So it's time to just watch the injury reports and hope that he's good to go. This team is coming off of a bye week as well. Michael Thomas is a little bit banged up, but I think Derek Carr could be a great addition to your fantasy team if you need quarterback help. All right, two other quarterbacks that I want to talk with you about today are Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder. So let's start out with Minshew. Right now, I want to tell you this stat. He has the third best schedule for fantasy quarterbacks the rest of the way. So that's something to remember when you're looking at him on the waiver wire. The Colts are coming off of their bye week, and they did have some receivers that were a little bit banged up. So hopefully the bye week got them healthy enough. I think Gardner Minshew is a good enough quarterback to put in your starting lineups for the next few weeks. They do face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 12. And the next quarterback, of course, shocked that we're talking about him, but it is Desmond Ridder over there. Again, I already said the Atlanta Falcons are going to face off against the Saints in week 12. And Arthur Smith said that Desmond Ridder gives this team the best chance to win. I think in fantasy football, though, if we're being realistic, he also has a good ceiling with his legs. We love the rushing upside that he gives us. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year so far. So I think all three of these quarterbacks are good enough if you lost a Joe Burrow, if you lost a Deshaun Watson, to go and add to your fantasy teams. We've got a lot of great games on Thanksgiving, but there is one running back that might be getting a bigger workload. So let's dive into the utilization for Zach Charbonnet. Unfortunately, Kenneth Walker left Week 11's game with an oblique injury against the Los Angeles Rams and was not able to return. Head coach Pete Carroll did say this week that he is not a candidate to go on injured reserve, which is fantastic news, but it does look like Kenneth Walker is going to miss a bit of time. So that means we now need to turn our attention to Zach Charbonnet. And let's look into the utilization here on fantasylife.com from Dwayne McFarland. He wrote about Zach Charbonnet and said he is in line for an every down workload. So let's dive into the numbers then. Right now we can see that in week 11 he had 85% of the snaps, 71% of the rushing attempts, and took 71% route participation, which is huge for Charbonnet. In total, he had 21 opportunities between 15 attempts and 6 targets. The thing with Zach Charbonnet that I think I want to point out to everyone is that the Seattle Seahawks have trusted him with a bigger role, especially in the passing game. So if Kenneth Walker is going to miss time, he is going to be able to take on that bigger workload and make magic happen with it. So if for some reason he is still on your waiver wire, go and get him. But going forward until Kenneth Walker is healthy, we can expect big things from Zach Charbonnet. And just in case you need a little bit more of a reason to go out and get Zach Charbonnet if he is on your waiver wire, let's listen to Ian Hartitz and what he had to say on the Utilization Debrief podcast.
And based on what we saw, we are looking at 20 plus combined carries and targets on a weekly basis for Charbonnet because Marcus, and I'm sure one of the reasons why you loved him so much coming out of college, was the fact that we have a running back with the 3-down size, 215 plus pounds, and all the pass down ability in the world, which he already had before this injury even happen. So the main concern here was going to be if like DJ Dallas or maybe a healthy Kenny McIntosh could come in there and just form more of a committee here. But we did have DJ Dallas active last week, and that just wasn't the case. 85% snaps, 71% of the team's rush attempts for Charbonnet. And again, that's on top of the 2-minute and long down and distance work he already had even before the Walker injury. So, available in 56% of fantasy leagues. I understand if all of you listening right now are sad that you are in those 44% of leagues where he is not available. I know it's one of these. How is he available? But just realize, guys, it's week 12. If Zach Charbonnet is on your waiver wire, please, for the love of God, use every last cent of fab you have to get him, because we could be very much looking at a legit upside RB1 down the stretch. The only problem, Marcus, and it's a small one, because at running back, if we're getting 20 plus touches in a good offense, the schedule, is kind of a distant third or fourth factor in our start-sit decisions. But man, schedule gods not doing any favors here. They get the 49ers this week and the Cowboys and the Niners again, Eagles, Titans, and Steelers through week 17. So haven't seen the Titans' run defense be nearly the same juggernaut in recent weeks. And again, I think Charbonnet, based on some of the pass down work, you could argue if he's going to have the same every down role, facing some of these lethal front sevens, more targets, maybe it's a net positive for in fantasy land. So won't be easy, and it's going to be the reason why he's maybe ranked closer to RB12 than RB1. But either way, man, you are starting this dude moving forward each and every week that Kenny Walker remains sidelined.
Of course, we're always so excited for the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing on Thanksgiving, but we also have 3 NFL games, and now it's time to go through some of our favorite plays for Thursday's games. Like I said, we are already winning because we have 3 games on Thanksgiving, but let's go through 2 favorites from our head of betting, Matthew Freedman, and what he likes. And let's start out with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys going up against the Washington Commanders. So the Commanders right now, they are giving up the most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks at 20.8. So this could be a great day for Dak Prescott. I mean, we all saw what Tommy DeVito did to them. 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. So yeah, I don't think you need me to tell you that you're starting Dak Prescott no matter what. One of the other stats, though, that I wanted to bring up over here is as a divisional home favorite, Dak Prescott is 13-4 against the spread. So again, you didn't need me to tell you to fire him up, but this should be a great spot for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Next up, we're going to scroll, and I know we talk a lot about Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about David Montgomery going up against the Packers. And like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs has been phenomenal, but we all remember what David Montgomery did against the Packers last time. 3 touchdowns. And here's another stat for you. Take out week 6 when David Montgomery got hurt. David Montgomery has scored a touchdown in every single game this season. So this should be a great matchup for him going up against the Packers on Thanksgiving. You're going to fire up David Montgomery, you're going to fire up Dak Prescott, and you're going to enjoy Thanksgiving all at the same time. All right, everyone, that was the roundup for week 12. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com, use all of our tools. They are 100% free. And make sure while you're there, you subscribe to our newsletter, which is in your inbox 7 days a week. Enjoy Thanksgiving, have a safe week, and enjoy week 12.